Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we got Boston, Bobby Luisi. He denounced the life, and he's here to speak with me about his past life and his plans for the future. What's going on, Bobby?
How you doing, Stacks? Thanks for having me on, buddy.
I'm pretty good, man.
Good.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about you, and you want to start in the beginning, because I heard that your father was in the life. And I wanted to know how was that for you as a kid growing up with your father in the life?
Well, growing up in it, you don't realize it. I was around it since I was a kid. Actually, I think it was about 11 years old, 12 years old. I started working for the gangsters for room vending. I was only a little guy, but I was going out doing the vending machines with them, the dime machines at the time. And, I did that after school for a while. And I was around gangsters all my life. My father was big with the mob up there. He had strip joints and different clubs. And I'll tell you a story I haven't shared.
Okay.
I was 13 years old. My mother, father divorced, and I have a sister too with that father. And long story short, he used to call me up. Now in Boston, we used to have the combat zone. Right now, it's more near the theater district down in Boston. But they used to be full with strip joints, hookers, pimps, the whole deal,
Yeah.
And my father used to run Enrico's strip joint. So I'm 13 years old, and I used to have to take the train from East Boston, go up there to town, and go into the strip joint. There was nobody around. I could sit out front, but then I used to have to go in the back when people came in, and I was right in the strippers' dressing room. Yeah. They used to just get undressed in front of me like I wasn't there, talk to me.
How old were you at the time?
About 13. About 13 years old. And in that place, all the gangsters used to come up. Capos, wise guys, they used to come in and out of the joint because they controlled it,
Yeah.
And so I met a lot of people up there with my father when I used to go up there. That once a week trip was like, I used to tell my friends about it. I used to be so excited, 13 years old, sitting in a strip joint in the back room, my feet kicked up with all the strippers all over me. It was great,
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of good memories with my father and those guys growing up, But I was about 16, 17 years old. I was working after school as a carpenter, and I really enjoyed it. That's really what I wanted to be. The other part of my family business was construction. I think by 20 years old, I got my first builder's license in Boston. And then 23, and I got my second license. And I was doing that for years. I loved it.
So now when you were doing that, were you still in your mind frame, I want to get straightened out?
No, I didn't even want anything to do with it. After 16, 17, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I wanted to be a builder. I think I bought my first property. I was 21 years old. Passed on my first 3-family building. And from there, I was buying buildings. I went down Martha's Vineyard up until 1990. Was building houses down there and flipping them. And then the market crashed. I lost everything. So I came back to the neighborhood. I put a gun on my back, and, that's history now,
Yeah.
So, listen, I grew up around them. It wasn't a big deal at the time, but, I ended up really getting into the life in 1990. When I was 30 years old, I came back in. But it was easy for me because the family name was in the neighborhood. My father, was with those guys his whole life. And it was pretty easy for me to slide in.
Yeah. Were you under somebody?
Yeah, my friend Mark Rossetti, he was straightened out before all of us with that new faction that was up in Boston. And we were working with him and the Salemis, and as time went on, Mark I was proposing the Petriarca family, and Mark would have been my skipper. Good guy. We're still close today. We talk, and but things didn't work out like that. There were problems up there. I didn't like the way things were going with the Petriarca family, so I seeked another family. I ended up in Philadelphia with Joey Merlino.
How does that? How would something like that work? If something's not working for you in one family, how would you transfer to another family?
Well, listen, you have to remember, in the 90s, both in Boston and Philadelphia, there were wars,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Patriarca family was in disarray. And I seen an opportunity to step in,
Hmm.
and I reached out to New York to Pete Gotti, true friend. Again, being a guy want to speak with him for me, and I ended up in Philadelphia. I went down to Philly, and basically Joey and I were in the same position in our crews. Uh, Both our wars were winding down, and me and
Joey.
Joey hit it off, and Georgie Borghese, and we had a good relationship. So they end up straightening me out down there.
How
You
long
know,
did it take you when you first arrived into Philadelphia? How long did it take you to get straightened out?
Someone else asked me that question before. It could take 6 months. It could take 5 years. My process was probably about 6 months or more.
Yeah, I mean,
Being proposed in the family, and then I got straightened out. And when I got straightened out, we waited a few more months just to go to a procedure, and then we straightened out my crew.
Now, can you talk about when you got straightened out?
I really don't like to talk about the ceremony or anything. I will say this, though. I was straightened out in Philadelphia.
Can you tell me the year?
98. I got straightened out in 98.
Now, are the books? No. Now, after you got straightened out, are you privy to the information about the books being opened and all that? Because from what I hear is that once you're proposed for membership, they take your name and they pass it around to the other families to see if there's a problem with your name. Now, did they do that with you?
I don't. My name went through Boston and Philly. New York's different. If you're coming up in New York, they do have to pass that name around. They got to know who's good and who's not good.
Yeah.
You might know a guy, Stacks, that is no good. He might have did something years ago. It's, they investigate, and this is what they do. Boston and Philly's a little different, we're smaller families there. So, if you got your name in Philly, you got your name in Boston, people know who you are. The Philly guys knew who I was, what I was doing, and that I was a boss up there before they even took me in.
Yeah.
I was running a big crew.
In your opinion, what family is stronger, the Boston family or the Philadelphia family?
Right now, I can't say. I got to be honest with you because I really don't keep up with it anymore.
Yeah.
I read an article last night, David Schratzweiser sent me. I think the Philly crew's about the 30 guys right now. They're starting to build up again.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on in Boston because I don't ask. I don't.
So when you
have anybody around me.
When you were there, who do you think was stronger?
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So because you were down there to basically come back up to Boston and take care of things and get everything in order. Is that what? Right.
Well, listen, you got to understand. I already had my own family and crew. I was already a boss over my thing in Boston.
Yeah.
And the Patriarchas were there. I had a falling out with the Patriarchas, so I knew I wasn't going to get made with the Patriarchas and straighten my guys out. So I went somewhere else to do that. I went to Philly. At that time, going to Philly just meant that I got a button and I straightened my guys out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you get the contacts in Philly? Are they just people you know throughout the years, or
you would be surprised at the contacts made through federal prison, through people in New York. There was some tight contacts for me to go down there.
Yeah.
I just didn't walk in off the street, And I'll tell you, I got to give those guys credit down there. They took me in. They investigated first. Naturally, this is what they have to do.
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
And like I said, Georgie and Joey, gentlemen, I'm really happy I hooked up with those guys at the time.
Yeah.
Good people. And they were strong.
Yeah. When you were down there, was it violent down there? Like, was there wars going on when you got straightened out in the late 90s? Because Hunchback Riccabini was down there at the time, if I remember.
Yeah,
right?
He was already gone. Those guys were all gone. By the time I got down there, Joey was in charge. Ralph Natali was there as his boss. Joey put him there as boss,
How was he
Joey was running the family.
How was Ralph as a person?
At first impression, great guy, gentleman.
Hmm.
I heard a lot of good things about Ralph, the way he carried himself in prison.
Yeah.
And I really like Ralph. I was impressed with him in the beginning. Very impressed with him,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know how things are when time goes on,
Yeah. Yeah.
stacks.
Yeah. I
Well,
sure do.
you learn more, you
Yeah.
know.
You learn what life's really about,
Gotta be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so now after you get straightened out and you come back up to Boston, now are you claiming the family to be Joey's family? Are you with that faction? Like when you're representing on the streets? Like what?
I was with Joey.
Mhm,
Bottom line, the way they have it set up, it's the Bruno Scarfo family, and the
mhm.
way the feds had it set it up. Now, this comes from the FBI that the Merlino faction was in Philadelphia, and the Luisi faction of the family was in Boston.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt about it. Joey was my boss, and we had a liaison between me and Joey. And I'll tell you, it was perfect. Good arrangement,
So
you
now
know.
when you're back up in Boston and you got your button, and so how long does it take you to start being able to make guys yourself?
Well, I'm not going to say that I made them. They were made in the Philly family. There's a
Mhm.
difference. If I
Yeah.
tell you that I made them, that means I'm the boss of the family.
Mhm.
Although I'm a capo and a boss, you know,
Yeah.
but I was there and part of the ceremony that to make these guys. You understand?
Yes.
But that had to come from Philadelphia. You understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So after they get made down in Philly, they come back up to Boston with you.
No, they didn't get made in Philly. They got made in Boston.
Okay.
They got made in Boston. My friend.
So from what I've heard that they don't want to keep two made men together because all the associates around them, because then they put the associates to work. Is that like how it works?
What do you mean? I didn't understand what you
Like
said.
they don't want two made men to be together in a crew because they can have more people doing more things for them. Is that how it works?
No, I'll explain the structure.
Okay.
I was a capo in the Philadelphia family with a Dejin with my men, but in Boston I was the boss up there because I was there separate from that faction.
Yes.
So I ran Boston, my part of Boston, my crew. Okay.
Mhm,
So now what happens? My guys that are under me, they all have associates and they all work individually.
mhm.
So it's not, of course, we're all friends, we're together all the time, but each May guy underneath me had their own associates and own business. Is that what you were asking me? Because
Yes,
that's how
pretty
it's structured. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much like so now a captain in your family is running their crew.
Yeah.
You would never have two captains in a crew together.
No,
That's what I'm
no,
asking.
no. I had an acting captain in my crew because every time I left Boston, he was in charge
Yeah.
while I was gone. He'd make the decisions.
Now, what kind of activity do you have with other families after you come back up to Boston? Is there a lot of interaction with other families?
No, I only really interacted with the Patriarchas. We did some business together. You can understand we're 300 miles away.
Yeah.
The Gambinos, the Genovese. I had a lot of interaction with them in Springfield.
Hmm.
At the end, my friend Anthony Irelata ended up becoming a capo down there and a boss
Hmm.
in Springfield for the Genovese family. I had interaction with them. I knew some Lucchese guys, Gambino guys, the usual,
Yeah.
but really didn't do business with them or interact with them.
When you were up there, like in full swing in Boston, were you sensing a lot of law enforcement presence?
Oh, we had it all the time. When I used to go to Philly, they had so open surveillance there. They would actually be out there with movie cameras, mics, pictures. Oh yeah, you had to see this. I never seen nothing like it. After I started going down to Philly, they
Mhm.
started doing that to me in Boston.
Were
They
you
were let
worried? Were you worried?
No, you can't worry about that or think about it. You
Yeah.
know, you can't. I always said I'm either going to be dead or in prison for life at 40 years old.
And you
So they
passed.
got me at 38.
Yeah.
And I
So,
did 14 years, and I'm still alive, thank
yeah,
God. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Amen.
Well,
So,
when you go through a war, you never know day to day what's gonna happen, you know?
do you have any situations that went on in the war that you can tell me about?
That's kinda iffy to talk about right now,
Yeah,
you know, because of the violence and everything, but, maybe another time we can share some stories,
yeah,
you know, but it's a little tough. A lot of people got killed up here.
yeah.
Yeah, in the 99 restaurant, I lost my father, my brother, a cousin,
Wow.
and an uncle in one day, and another
One
one
day.
shot. Yeah,
Wow.
in one day. That
Sorry for your
happened in,
loss.
I think it was October of 1999. You know, they killed my father, and, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things, and plus, right now, we're
Yeah.
writing my book,
Hmm.
and, my agent and publisher are giving me a hard time. We're talking on the show,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these other shows right now, so I gotta be a little careful
I understand.
of what I do, you know?
So now, how long since when you got made and went up to Boston? How long did you have a run for until the feds got you?
My run was about 10 years.
That's a
I
pretty
was
good.
made
That's pretty
Yeah,
good
I
run.
was yeah, but I was a May guy on the street, an actual May guy, a boss, you know, in the mob
Hmm.
for about a year, that's all.
Yeah,
But listen, long before that, I went down to Philly and I got straightened out. I was already a boss and had a crew.
yeah,
Really, I didn't have to go get straightened out, to be honest with you. You know, we were strong up there, nobody could come against us. But,
yeah,
you know, I grew up in this life around these guys, and I felt the right thing to do was to get made,
yeah.
was to be part of a family.
Looking back at it now, do you regret it?
I don't regret it anymore because it doesn't matter, and I really don't regret it because, you know, I met all these Philly guys. I met a lot of nice guys on the way.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's like saying, "Do you regret marrying your wife?" No,
I,
I got 3 kids with her.
yeah. I don't
Look
have a
what
wife,
came out
so
of it. No, no, but you understand what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. No, yeah,
It's kinda
perfectly.
like
Yeah,
a comparison to that,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
I don't regret going to jail, but I met a lot of good people in there too.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly, you know? So that's kind of the comparison. No, you know, I'm glad I went through what I did. I'm glad I did what I did.
Hmm.
And even everybody I talked to, you know, FBI, whatever, they can't believe what I did, how I brought another family up here,
Yeah,
you know,
it
because
is.
that wasn't originally sanctioned from New York. It was sanctioned after we did it.
So do you think you would have had a problem with New York or
Not at all. What are
not at
they
all?
gonna do?
There was no rumblings or nothing?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Could I go in the middle of Brooklyn? I mean, I visited Brooklyn, but could I go today in the middle of Brooklyn and start taking over the mob over there?
Probably not.
Well, they can't do that in Boston either, my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah. I
That's
get
us
it.
here.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do to me?
Yeah.
Agabish,
Yeah.
you know, don't get me wrong. No disrespect against any of them,
Mm-hmm.
those families. I'm not saying that, but you're not coming to my neighborhood.
So how
It's not
many
gonna happen.
when you're on your top, your height of your reign, how many guys did you have under you?
I really don't want to say that either, but I had quite a few.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, between May guys and associates, because I had a lot of Irish friends too. A lot of Irish guys were with me.
Yeah.
There had to be between 50 and 100 off the top of my head. We were
Did you
that strong.
Yeah, that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
Did you have any interactions with Whitey Bulger or any of them?
Not at all.
No.
Messages used to go back between me and Stevie Fleming,
Yeah.
but I never met. I never wanted to. Whitey didn't mean anything to us, Bo. You
Yeah.
know, he really didn't. I mean, he worked with some of the Italians. You know what Whitey did.
Yeah.
You know, he
Hmm.
he wasn't Italian. He wasn't a made guy.
Yeah.
So, you know, when they call him a boss and this and that, yeah, they had a crew. They did a lot of bad things. But you got to remember, he ran with the Winter Hill Gang. He ran with the Italians, with the Moneranos. I mean, they think they hear Whitey like he was just
Just
some
like,
kind of god up there.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
wasn't. A lot
Yeah.
of the Irish guys didn't like him either. You know,
Yeah.
but was he a bad guy? He was a
Yeah.
bad guy. I won't take that away from him.
Do you think if he stayed on the street, he would end up getting killed?
Yeah, once everybody realized what he did, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Talking to
was
the
always a
feds.
suspect because I heard that years ago. You
Yeah.
know, but me, why would I have a dealing with him? I didn't want nothing to do with him.
What about Kevin Weeks? Have you ever had any dealings with him?
Yes, I have. I had dealings with Kevin. I like Kevin.
Yeah.
You know, he was
Mhm.
Kevin was out there. He worked with those guys.
Yeah.
He's a ballsy guy. Yep. I like
Yeah.
Kevin. Yep.
Yeah. So, can you explain the situation when the feds picked you up? How it went down?
Well, that weekend, I think it was Friday, we started seeing the cars around the house. And I thought it was going to get pinched that Friday. Sean Viteri came to my house. I guess there were helicopters going over his house. They were watching him, following him. So he came right to my house. And I said, look, we're going to get pinched. Because
No.
the street I lived on was a dead end. When I came around, there were 3 FBI cars there.
Yeah.
But they let us leave the street. They know it was me and Sean. They let us leave the street. We went up to the park to
Mhm.
talk, And I
Yeah.
said, they got us. What are we going to do? Just wait till they knock on the door. And they came Monday morning.
Oh man. So how much was your bond when they grabbed you?
Oh, there was no bond. There was no nothing.
No
They weren't
bond.
letting me out.
No.
There was not even a discussion on it.
How many
We
people got
tried.
rounded up? How many were rounded up?
There were 4 of us in Boston and 11 in, I think, 7 or 11 in Philly. It might have been 11 of us total. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they got Joey down in Margate. They got me in my house. Joey was on vacation.
So, what did you end up plead guilty to, if you don't mind talking about it?
Well, my original indictment was cocaine. It carried a 20-year sentence. And my superseding indictment was murder, racketeering, extortion, the whole works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was everything.
Where was your family into the drug game?
I was into the drug game. My father was,
Yeah.
My other cousins, they weren't. I had one cousin involved, but they really weren't crazy about the drugs.
Oh, so it was like a split. A part of them wanted it, and part of them didn't.
Yeah, but that didn't matter because I did. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, not to sound disrespectful against my cousins
Mhm.
or my family, but listen, if that's not your thing, don't do it.
Yeah.
And we'll do what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know?
So after they picked you up, what was it like? Your experience going through federal prison?
Well, I'll tell you, it was something. Before that, I'd been arrested, a few times, spent some times in county jails, but never, any long pinch,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of something, you're a boss, you got power, and all of a sudden, everything's gone. They're
Yeah.
locking you in a cell. Well, can't smoke cigarettes, you can't do this, you can't do that. Lights out. What happened here?
Yeah.
You know?
So when you're in jail, are there people gravitating towards you?
Oh yeah, because I was in the papers when I got arrested. They know I was in there. Oh sure.
So everyone wants to be around you and all that, right?
Certain guys, yep.
Yeah.
Certain guys, yep.
So after you get your sentence, how long did they give you?
My first time I went to trial, I got 235 months. So,
Wow.
and what happened at that time, the stenographer on my case had went into private practice, so they never did the transcripts for me.
Oh man.
Now, yeah, this is 2002.
Wow.
Time's going on. I'm pressure on my lawyer. They're trying to get it together. Long story short, they changed the guidelines. I think it was 2005 or 6. I don't remember, but they changed the federal guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time my appeal was done in 2007, I ended up winning it. I was the first one in Boston, Massachusetts. This was one to ever turn over a drug case.
So
You see the government versus Robert Luisi.
How did you appeal it? Like, what was the basis for your appeal?
Entrapment.
Entrapment, and you
Yeah,
beat
and the
it? Wow.
judge made a bad ruling, but the appellate court didn't knock it out. They sent me back to trial.
Okay.
So I went back to trial again. I
Mhm.
lost again, but they had to take off the leadership role, and it brought my sentence down to 15 years, 8 months.
And by that time, how long have you been in?
I was already in for like 12, I think.
Oh, so then you got 4 years left.
Yeah, because I got sentenced in 2008. Well, I still had a few years left.
Yeah.
because I got out in 13.
Now, did you have any problems in prison?
Yeah, of course I did. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I fought a lot, got transferred a lot, you know.
Is there any like major situations that stick out in your head that you
Nah,
can talk
just,
about? No.
well, I'll tell you how it is in there, my friend. You know, people get familiar when they come around you.
Hmm.
They think they could joke with you, say what they want. And sometimes you got to walk in the cell and straighten it out.
Hmm.
99% of the times they don't want a problem, you know. But,
Yeah.
you know, when you go and invade their house, they get afraid. Few
Yeah.
fights,
Yeah.
so,
So when you were in there, was it, since you're such a high profile person, is there a lot of people that are willing to like go to bat for you when you're in there?
well, the way I did it myself, I'm pretty independent, was with plenty of guys in there. I had plenty of friends, black, Spanish,
But
Italian,
you know
Irish.
how it is. You know how it is,
No, no,
though.
I know how it is, but I,
Yeah.
I, I stood alone most of the time and stood on my own.
Yeah.
So they know if they come at me, what they would have to do. So I got
Mhm.
my respect, and most of the time, they would stay away. I
Is
didn't have
that
to worry too much about that.
is that where your mind started to change when you were in prison?
No, actually, I had a spiritual experience on the street in '98, and
Oh,
I started going back to church.
yeah.
And I think it was 15 months before my arrest. Guys didn't know I was going to church every Sunday. My mother had a non-denominational church in East Boston. She opened in 1980. We all pray in tongues. We're all charismatic. We do all that. You
Yeah.
know, even my
Yeah.
kids. So we're blessed with that. And I started going back to church. And by the time I got arrested, I was already starting to want to get into the Bible. I was getting into the Bible.
You started to change slowly, right? Like,
While I was on the
yeah.
street, I
Yeah.
wasn't as aggressive anymore. I
Hmm.
really didn't pursue my money that much anymore. I realized my sins and the bad things that I did during that experience that I had. And I don't want to get too into it,
Yeah,
but
but it was
it
weighing
was an
on your
eye opener.
conscience, like
Yeah,
your conscience.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I went from being a diehard gangster, you know,
Yeah.
diehard gangster. And I'll tell you the date. It was March 27th when it happened. And it was over on the 28th. It went over into the next morning. And I went from a diehard gangster to looking for answers to what had just happened to me.
Yeah.
So I started seeking, you know, to get my answers.
Yeah.
So by the time I got in prison, it was perfect for me because when I first went in, I was looking at 10 to 12. Said, all right, I got to do my time and take a little rest.
So your plan was to get out and hit the streets running when you got out, or
Well, my plan was when I got out to, try to like retire from the mob.
yeah.
That was my plan. It worked out like that anyway because um, while I was in there, they told me that my lawyer came with the Marty Bedreau, who was ex AUSA from the Boston office, and I was trying to get the deal to 10 to 12 on the drug charge.
Yeah.
And he came and he told me that I wasn't getting out, that I'm getting reindicted on a murder charge. So he said, "You have no way out. It's a life sentence. They got you cold. Everybody's ratting on you. So what do you want to do?" So it took me 2 or 3 weeks. I made a decision. I talked with them, which was a mistake,
Yeah.
but I talked with them and then I took it back because I didn't want to be a rat. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't be an informant.
So were they telling you like, we'll drop all this, we'll let you out if you cooperate?
No, I was getting kind of stupid. Every time I told them about another murder, they wanted to tack more time on. It wasn't. I was looking for that Sammy the Bull deal, 5 years, don't bother
Yeah.
my guy type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what they promised me in the beginning, and then they just started getting,
They did
you know,
that gas pipe deal to you.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
that they just were trying to take advantage. I felt,
Yeah.
and I went after them, and I didn't help them. That's why I went to 2 trials.
Yeah.
Like these guys, they want to call me the farm. I don't care what they call me. You could go right now to see my 2 cases, the
Yeah.
2 trials I went to, and what I did. I fought the government. Was I wrong in the beginning? Absolutely. I was wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can never show face again and be in the mob again. I don't want that anyway. So I really don't care, to be honest with you.
So now you're
I
like,
would do it again if I, you know,
yeah,
I would never do it now, but I would have been in that same state of mind, you
yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm. So now your life now. I want to talk about your life now.
All right. All right. We could do that.
So how is the change for you being like going from being a diehard gangster to being a God-fearing man?
Well, I got to tell you, when I got out in 13, and anybody that did any length of time in prison knows you get a little institutionalized.
Mm-hmm.
You like to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You got a certain routine, and go work out, go run, go do this, go work in the kitchen, whatever I was doing, teaching, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I got that routine and I got that habit down. When I got out at 13, I went right away. When I got a job, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because like I told you, I got a construction background. Soon as I got out, I got a supervisor job right away, you
Yeah.
know, and I hit the ground running, you know, and I'm still running, you know.
So are you really involved with the church? Like, cause
No, I got divorced 4 years ago. I
mm-hmm,
married a girl when I went down to Tennessee,
mm-hmm,
and a beautiful girl, nice family, but you know, I was just out of prison. I wasn't ready. I was only home like a year and a half. I wasn't ready
yeah,
to deal with that, you know. And she had 3 kids too. I have 3 myself, you know.
yeah,
Wasn't ready to deal with it, and it just didn't work out. It wasn't her, it was me.
mm-hmm,
Anybody that did time will understand what I'm talking about, you know. To jump into a relationship like that,
yeah.
it was really hard. But I loved the beautiful girl, you know. But so I think at 17, 2017, I left there. I went to work in Florida for a year, almost a year down there
Mm-hmm.
for a environmental company. I was an estimator manager. And then I came home in 2018 and was selling cars.
So
Became a sales manager.
do you feel that the police still look at you like you're involved with all of that stuff in your past life?
Well, what happened when I came home, uh, I was home a week and I went to visit a friend and I didn't know his place was under surveillance. So they got my car, my plate. They knew it was me. I was down there. And 2 days later, I think it was a Saturday. I don't remember now, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
we got a knock on the door. My poor mother at the condo, you know, can we
Mm-hmm.
talk to Bobby? State police and DEA. First
Yeah.
thing they said, why are you here? I was already off of paper because I had come home the year before and we stayed a month because I was
Mm-hmm.
still on paper. That's why I left and went to Florida.
If you were on paper, they would have grabbed you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, they said, listen, we got a lot of news on you already. People are talking. I said, I'm home a week. I didn't go
Yeah.
anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
He said, but
Yeah.
they know you're home, Bobby. We
Mm-hmm.
want to know what you're up to. I ain't up
Mm-hmm.
to nothing. I'm going to sell cars.
Yeah.
And that's what I went and did, you
So
know? And
now, what are your plans for the future?
the plans I have no plans. When
No.
COVID's over,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm just going to keep doing my shows and enjoying myself. And we'll see what happens when all this nonsense over.
You got a book in the works, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're doing the book right now. I'm hoping that'll be out by the end of the summer or before Christmas. I'm writing the book with Emily Sweeney from the Boston Globe. She's an investigative reporter, been there for years. She's very good, you know.
Yeah.
So we're working on that now. And well, we don't have an actual deadline to get the book out yet, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, but when you do, I'll bring you on the show and we'll review your book.
Yeah, that'll be great. But I do
Yeah.
have a book online right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, God's Plan Revealed. You know, I got a degree in theology, and the book is about creationism. From the book of Genesis to the book of Revelations, I break the Bible down.
I'm gonna pull up a picture of it right
All
here.
right.
I'm pretty sure I saved it. There's so much in this computer, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Things get lost. It's like,
Well, I'm sure your viewers are patient, so they'll wait for it.
oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's God Plan Revealed. It's on Amazon. Nope, that's
Boom.
my
Here.
mugs. Oh, good.
Yeah.
You popped that up.
Yeah.
They could go to
Sorry.
BobbyLuisi.com Get the
Mhm.
T-shirt, the mugs. I got a baseball cap. Oh, I'm glad you put that up there.
Yeah,
All right, that's
definitely.
good. Looks good, that stuff, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So you got, what do you got? Mask, base
No, we're not doing the mask. We're doing the mugs. We're doing the caps,
mhm.
baseball caps, and the T-shirts right now. Want to see how that goes first, and
and
then from there we'll start adding on to the product line.
and where could the
You know,
people get the mugs and stuff?
BobbyLuisi.com. They could go right to the store page and click
Mhm.
on right there. They'll go to eBay, or they could go to eBay and find it.
Yeah. I'll leave a
You
link
know,
for his store page down below in the comment section for if people want to check it out. And I'll leave a link for your book is there too, the book that you got out, right?
yeah, it's on Amazon. You
Yep.
know, so you go right to Amazon and get that link. You
Yep.
know, so that'll be
And
good.
and definitely I'll have you back on the show. I want to thank you for coming on, and I really had a good time doing this.
Yeah, this was good. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on, my friend.
Thank you.
All right.
And
All right.
everyone out there, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you could get my videos every time they drop. And I want to give a shout out to Hootie282. Make sure you hit him up on Instagram. And until next time.
Bye, guys.